Hello, everyone. I'm Rena Sagosh. Welcome to our September webinar on what is WYSIWYG. That is a very popular term here used at TinyMC. You might have heard it as a developer starting your web development career. You might have heard it just as a consumer, as a customer. I'd like to clarify all of that. I would love to explain a little bit of the definition, the history, and how we use it at TinyMC, and how we are one of the most popular um, rich tech partners and WYSIWYG in the world. So without and yeah, let's get started. So, what is WYSIWYG? Well, let's first go over what our agenda is for today. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the definition of WYSIWYG, the history and origin. Where does it come from? Why that term? Why is it called that? Some examples of popular WYSIWYG editors that we use in our day to day. I bet that almost every single one of you, if you are streaming here and if you're watching me on YouTube, you've definitely used it to get here today. Key features of TinyMC's editor, the benefits, and I'll also show you a quick demo. And the hands-on Fiddle will enable you guys to be able to play around with TinyMC. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on the chat. I will questions as we are talking about this as well. So let's get started. Now, to start, what is WYSIWYG? So WYSIWYG just stands for what you see is what you get. It refers to text editors where the content of the content you are editing looks exactly like the final output. So this allows content creators skills to visually edit the text. That's kind of why it became very revolutionary, because not everyone had to know how to code in order to type. And I think that's pretty revolutionary in itself. So is early on, the term WYSIWYG was first coined in the 1970s to describe some of the earliest word processors emerging at the time. Before WYSIWYG, text editors were limited to only inserting plain text without any true formatting. So the first true was Bravo. It was developed in 1974. It's that screenshot I've attached over here for Xerox Alto system. It allowed users to see the formatted text displayed with different fonts and margins and sizes. However, the screen resolution didn't exactly match the printer output. So was it really WYSIWYG? That's pretty debatable. But after the 70s, in the 80s and 90s, WYSIWYG really gained popularity with the rise of the graphical user interface, or GUI, as some people call it, GUIs, as some people call it. The graphic base actually had a very big popularity with the operating systems like Microsoft Windows and Apple's Mac OS. So the GUI really made WYSIWYG easier to use with the ability to click buttons and menu options. So later, the adoption of WYSIWYG was accelerated then by the internet and the World Wide Web. WYSIWYG enabled even non-technical users to start publishing content online using early HTML editors, which was really revolutionary at that time. Right? It was not only in the OS that you can now use WYSIWYG editors, but you could also use it as HTML. And now we're all probably very familiar with HTML5 as we're developing and coding on a regular basis. So, a little bit more about the history, right? I still haven't explained who coined that term. So, actually, there's very different origins, but the most popular origin that people believe is brought the saying, what you say is what you get, to popularity in 1969 via his drag persona, Geraldine Jones. I think the following decade with it numerous albums with the title "What You See Is What You Get." Using these timelines, even a Tina Turner one, which kind of flips the thing, where it was what you. But using these timelines, you could speculate that in the computing world was probably inspired to use the phrase in their work after listening to the radio or wireless, as it was called at the time, not to confuse it with wireless as it is known today. So there is some debate about who first used the term WYSIWYG to describe their technology. Some say it was John Saybold and his colleagues who created WYSIWYG software and used the term in the mid 70s. Others credit Cliff, who used the term in a presentation involving the Graphic Communications Associations and printing industries uh, in the late 70s. So even like the inventor of copy paste, Larry Tesler, is sometimes credited because he used to have the saying, "What you see on the screen should be what you print." Um, the number of and variety of players in this sort of puzzle game of figuring out who said what, it's likely that we'll never know the true origin of WYSIWYG nor who to thank, but I think all of these players played very roles in the development of this acronym in the tech world today. So I hope you had a little bit of fun learning a little bit of the history of WYSIWYG. Now, I would like to kind of transition this to some of the more popular examples of WYSIWYG. The most basic example is word processors like Microsoft Word or Google Docs. These were some of the first practical of WYSIWYG, allowing documents to be formatted and edited visually. We use them on a day-to-day basis. I use Google Docs almost on a basis, right? It you don't really need to understand how it stores characters to the cloud, how if I want to convert it to a PDF, it's exactly what I see on my document that's converted to a PDF. But I see on Google Docs is exactly what I get when I print it, I output it, I share it with someone else. And that really is one of the biggest and most popular use cases. Some other uses include website builders and CMS platforms like WordPress, Drupal, Wix. There's so much more. They incorporate WYSIWYG editors so content can be added to them without necessarily know how to code. And this again is really revolutionary because not all website builders should have the ability to be a full stack engineer. They're just content creators and CMS platform folks who want to put together a website maybe for a portfolio project work, and they should be quickly be able to do that and know what their output is going to be like without having to sort of interact with the code itself. And another more sort of broader, popular use cases for WYSIWYG is in email clients like Gmail and Outlook. They use WYSIWYG when composing messages to allow formatting options and embed images and links. Document management systems like Monday and file and Confluence and file sharing tools utilize WYSIWYG so users can easily edit the documents online and collaboratively in Confluence. Community and form softwares like Shopify, the e-commerce product editors, CRMs, and LMS platforms also integrate WYSIWYG editors for their needs, and some community platforms like Dev, Medium, and so much more have WYSIWYG as part of their very much integrated into their platform. So the key really is that WYSIWYG just enables text editing and formatting in a visual way across all diverse applications and almost every application that you need to interact with of some sort. So let's get to the key features of WYSIWYG editors. The first big thing is the fact that you have these font sizes and colors without coding manually. Um, the next is you can bold, italicize, underline text with button clicks. Just seems like I'm talking about all the functionalities of Microsoft Word, which really is very powerful when you think about it. If you can put it on a site in just a few lines of code and not have to worry about like the background. The next is adding images, tables, links, and other media that is done visually instead of writing an HTML markup to do that. I really think it's super valuable for being able to reviewing changes in real time before like publishing the content, especially with things like Google Docs. Exporting the final product into PDF, email, Word, and other formats is very big amongst a lot of WYSIWYG editors. There's built-in ability checking. I believe that provides alerts about issues that should be addressed. In fact, if you type an article on Dev2, it actually and you post an image into that platform, it actually does not allow you to publish the article if you have included the sort of ARIA label for that specific image and given the image a description to be accessible. So there's lots of ways in which WYSIWYG can improve accessibility as well. The next thing is sort of collaboration tools. It allows multiple users to co-edit. So think Google Docs again. But for editors, there are popular editors that allow you to do that. And finally, I think there's also multiple language support, right? There's also right to left language support, which is commonly included and a key feature of all WYSIWYG editors, including TinyMCE. So um, a major benefit, I think, for folks to be able to use an editor is just productivity. As content authors don't need coding, just are creating content and publishing, and they're doing what they're supposed to rather than worrying about how to code something, how to make sure it appears the way they want it to, et cetera, et cetera. I also think there's a aspect of the editing and publishing workflow is streamlined versus coding everything manually. So the changes can be viewed and published with just one click. I think the output is pretty consistent, right, across platforms and devices, and it looks the same whether you're on the desktop, whether you're on the mobile, and it's because when it's going to be the same across all platforms, and that's really great benefit. And finally, it has a very intuitive experience, even for non technical users. Typically, once you've used Word or Google Docs, you really don't have to teach someone to use it again, right? The experience is very intuitive and it allows anyone to edit or format text. So, WYSIWYG editors can save development teams significant that will require to build custom text editing features like from scratch, and that is huge, especially if you are someone or a software development company. You're looking things. So I think I've chatted enough about WYSIWYG editors, the history, the definition. I should probably show you a demo. So TinyMCE is a rich text editor web component that you can put into your own web application. And let me actually get started on this. I've actually already shared the Fiddle. So if you go to fiddle.tiny.cloud, you can actually follow along. Um, and the slides are also attached. So if you want to follow along by clicking on the slides, happy to do that as well. So, gone ahead and shared my slides. I hope everyone can see this and has access to this as well. So, the first thing that we need to understand, and this is a fiddle, so I'm going to give you a little bit more background on how TinyMCE is kind of initialized and set up. TinyMCE, if you use the cloud version, which we highly recommend using, is the TinyMCE script is included in the web page and it's usually loaded from a CDN. Then the TinyMCE is initialized on a text area, as you can see. Element by calling tinymce.init and passing a configuration object. And this is essentially the configuration object. Now, the configuration object is where the key parts of the editor comes in. It lets you customize the plugins, the toolbars with buttons. So all of these things that you see over here is customized right here. It enables you to use like the CSS selector to convert the text area into an editor over here. It enables plugins like paste, code, view, tables, bold, italic, all the kind of core features that we had discussed. Setting the CSS styles for the edit and content areas, the dimensions of the editor. You can actually, add a comment over here and say that I want the height of my editor to be like 500 px or something. And if you run it, it can shorten that. Not really interested in that at the moment, so we can change that. The visual theme, we have options to be able to change the theme. The menu bar configuration, do you want the file and the edit button first? How do you want to organize this bold, italics, underline? So you can really sort of customize it. We also have an AI powered writing assistant, which I have showcased in my previous webinar. I can quickly showcase that again. We also have enabled multi-route editing, so you can insert some of your advanced templates and describe what sections folks are able to edit within the editor. And it's just tons of plugins if you check out all of our plugins and ways to customize the editing experience for your final user. So let me show you a little bit more. So as I said, we initialize this as a configuration object. And let's say we wanted to add the help button over here. So we've added the help plugin, which essentially is this part that allows you to understand like what are the shortcuts, what are the plugins that are installed, what is the version that we're using. And this is actually our latest version that we're using, which is TinyMCE 6.7 in this editor, which we just released today. And I want to add this help icon. I'm not satisfied that it's all the way over here. I don't want it to be over here as part of my toolbar. Okay, let me get started. Maybe I want to add it right after my image. All you have to do is type in help, and your editor will automatically render the help button and its functionality to that. How cool is that? Very quickly. You can also change the order in which all of these are sort of described. So maybe you want all of your aligns to be after your bulleted points. I do that. I flip the order, and then I run my code. And you can see I flip the order of, okay, my text, bold, italics, underline is over here. My paragraph, the, 1, 2, 3, and the indentation icons over here. And then I have all of my align icons. So just a simple configuration of being able to flip between this allowed us to sort of move around and understand the plugins. So yeah, as I said, these are pretty basic plugins. If I say hello world, and then I decide to bold it, it automatically applies the bold, italics, underlined, all of that. And then say, welcome to the WYSIWYG webinar. So yeah, this is just a very quick overview of what we can do. Let me see if I can share very quickly with everyone other cool features that we can do. So let's see. In this version of TinyMCE, I have actually set up the editor to have the AI assistant plugin and the AI dialog and shortcuts bar and the help bar, as you can see. And what I can do is I can actually ask it to say, write a welcome message thanking everyone for attending the WYSIWYG, WYSIWYG webinar. And very quickly, we have a formatted, rich text that's generated by our ChatGPT plugin. And, it asks you for thanking you for attending the webinar. Love the turnout that we have today, and just quickly has that formatted and set up for us. Now, having this HTML is not ideal, so we do have to work on that. Now, let's say we have some shortcuts and we want to understand what WYSIWYG is. We can ask our AI assistant, and it will explain to you that WYSIWYG is indeed what you see is what you get. Yeah, so it's very quick for us to be able to set up a tiny MCE instance on the cloud. Very quick to be able to customize the output. As you can see, this is looks like a little bit of a different editor from our previous editor that had all of the things loaded. Here we've only loaded the AI plugin, the code, and table, and we've only loaded the following toolbars. And if we want to load more of the basic things, we can. But for the moment, we said, okay, this is an AI demo, so we're doing this. And this really shows you, if go back to the previous editor, the versatility of WYSIWYG editors and the ability to just customize the look and feel of it with just not even a few lines of code, but the same line of code, just different configuration options to do that. And you get a very powerful, rich text editor in your hands. That is truly, in my opinion, WYSIWYG. So I hope you enjoyed that extremely quick demo of TinyMC. There's will be more to come where I'll be doing more live coding demos. Watch out for those with React, Angular, and Vue are most popular front end frameworks for these demos. So now we are very eager to learn how you're using TinyMCE, and we welcome any and all feedback. So honestly, please, please, please share your experience with us and our product team and engineering team. You can go to tiny.cloud and roadmap and provide this feedback. You can also contact us on GitHub, Discord, or by communicate. If you're a customer, communicate with your account manager. Your input will really just help us make further improvements and cater to your needs very effectively. So once again, I am Rena Sagosh. Follow me on Dev, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, GitHub. If you have any questions related to TinyMCE, WYSIWYGs, rich text editors, JavaScript, or generative AI and the AI Assistant plugin, would love to answer any and all questions. More than happy to, and would love to learn who's in the community and how you guys are using WYSIWYG editors today. So thank you again for attending this webinar. And I hope you learned a little bit more on what WYSIWYG is, how it can benefit you. And hopefully, if you're thinking about a project to use WYSIWYG in, hopefully you will consider TinyMC. So have a nice day. Bye-bye.